Hi guys, welcome back to our channel. My name is Sergey and I'm the owner of Sergey Green Studio. We provide photography and videography services here in Los Angeles since 2011. And with this video, I want to start the series of video for my fellow wedding photographers out there who's just starting, or for someone who's thinking about starting with a wedding photographer, and share my experience. It's been quite a while since I started wedding photography, 16, 17 years so far, and I accumulated lots and lots of knowledge that I really wanted to share with you guys. And if few people going to get inspired by this video and they would start their own wedding photography businesses and going to own their own time and make quite a lot of money, I'll be so happy actually out of that. First of all, before we talking about the skills required and technical abilities and all other things, I want to talk first of all about who's this guy, who's the wedding photographer actually, and what is the wedding photography. Many of us would imagine that's just a simple person who would arrive to the wedding and start taking photos. But in reality, you need to visualize this in details. Wedding photographer is someone who's working with lots of different people throughout the day. They're working in a different environments with a different lighting in a different situations. For example, if you are the fashion photographer, I'm not saying that fashion photography is easier, but if you're a fashion photographer, you sort of crafting your skills around one setup. You are in the studio, you know how to work with artificial light and so forth. If you are the wedding photographer, you're starting with the hotel or the special room where guys getting ready, then you working with the noon light, then you're going into the ceremony, then you're going to the reception, and it could be indoor, it could be outdoor, so you could be working with the artificial light, you can be working with the natural light, and be also taking photos on the sunset and so forth and so on. You're working with the different types of equipment. Plus, you're working with the people who might never been in front of the camera before. Also, you have lots of responsibility, and some people wrongly assume that, well, it's not a big deal to go and take a wedding photos. Well, in reality, it's not that, and you can relate to that. You might seen your parents' wedding album or your grandparents' wedding album. Guess what? Someone took these photos, and these photos probably the most important photos in your family archive. Imagine you working as a wedding photographer for 5 years. Somewhere out there, hundreds of weddings that you took, and all of these photos are there in the family archive. So it's a very important moment that you capture, and all of this pressure going to be on you. So you need to make sure that you're ready for that responsibility and that you actually enjoy that responsibility as well. So now when I scared you enough with your responsibility, no pressure here, right? We need to talk about technical skills needed to capture all of these things. Well, first of all, you will need to know your camera in and out, how it's working. You would need to know everything about the shutter speed, the f-stops, the ISO, and so forth and so on. But this is relatively easy to learn. You would also need, based on the experience, to learn how your lenses work, and because they all have different secrets here and there, they all work differently in a different lighting situations. That's why some of the lenses cost $2,000 and some of them cost like $100. So you would need to be on that level when you understand the difference. And as always, you would just need to put hours into that. And most importantly, the fundamental knowledge of the photography is, of course, working with light, because that's your best friend, and at the same time, it could be your best enemy. And you would need to figure out how to work with this. You would need to figure out how to work with the natural light, how to work with artificial light, and sometimes how to do this with both, because it's not like the transition gonna go pretty smoothly. Sometimes, lots of the times actually, especially here in California, you would be working on outdoor venue on the reception, and slowly light going to change, and you would need to figure out how to do that. Also, you'll need to work with your timeline according to the light. So we need to know where you're doing certain things and tell to your wedding planner, like, I want this specific time with the couple at this specific point, because here is what I want to do. It's all about the planning as well. So there's lots of skills actually, and I'm assuming it's going to take like 10-15 videos like that to just go through that. So it's not about this video over here. I want to do the quick overview of that. The next thing, as you might guess, it's all about communication. As I already mentioned, that you're going to be working with non-professional models. Most of the time, these people never been in front of your camera. That's why, for example, all of my packages include engagement photo shoot. Because lots of the time, if you not include them, people might want to skip them for two reasons. Well, first of all, they want to save a little bit of money. Second reason, they would not really want to be in front of the camera out of scarcity, or maybe for some other reasons. But that's a very, very good practice. And there's a huge difference between couples who did the engagement photo shoot and who didn't. Just this experience would change their perspective in terms of about the photography overall. They're going to see how they're going to look. So in that case, again, reference to the fashion photography. Fashion photography working with someone who's been in front of the camera 1,000 times, if not more. They know how the camera works. They know how they're going to look from the different angles and so forth. You're going to work with someone who's never been in front of the camera and who actually might be scared of the camera as well. Now it's a little bit easier because of the Instagram and social media and everything. Everybody's a little bit of a model, but lots of the time not really. So you would need to communicate properly with your couple first of all. Also, you would need to communicate with the rest of the people as well, and make sure that everybody comes. Sometimes you would arrive to the wedding and the brides, they are going to be stressed about the makeup going on the way she planned, or something not arriving in time and so forth. You need to be as calm as possible under pressure, because she's going to feel it, she's going to match your energy naturally, and that's how you're going to change the entire day. I heard that so many times when we would arrive to the wedding, and 30-40 minutes after, bride would be like, you guys so calm, and it made me calm. I feel so good right now about it. And that's the thing, that's the skill you would have to acquire as well, but it's going to come with experience. And I'm not talking here about dealing with crazy relatives or anything like that, or a stressful situation, or someone who drinks a little bit too much. Not in this video. We're gonna do that in a separate video, also because it's not that common actually. It's only like once every 10 weddings or so. You're gonna have this small conflicts here and there that you would also have to figure out as well. The next basics, of course, that you would need to know is your equipment, and you would, at the very beginning especially, you would have to experiment with your equipment. There is, of course, recommended setup, and I'm going to go in the next videos through my personal setup and how it changed throughout the years and so forth. I actually listed 40 different videos where I'm going to be talking about the different aspects. So make sure you subscribe and waiting for the new video to come out. But what I'm trying to say is that through the years, especially through the first couple of years, you would be constantly experimenting with your camera gears, with your lenses. I'm pretty sure there is the lens, like for me, for example, 55 millimeters. There's a lens for you that is yours. You're gonna feel it that is yours. You're gonna feel like it's the extension of your eyes. You're gonna love it. That's the one that you need to find as well. There's a few more that you're going to love. There's a few lenses, like artsy lenses, that you're going to like. For some people, it's tilt shift lenses, for example. There's lots of photographers who love them. I personally tried it, didn't really work out for me. And same for the lighting situation. There's a different solution in terms of how you're going to light your environment. There's a hardcore scenarios like, let's say, wooden barn, for example. That's probably the hardest lighting scenario out there, and you'll have to figure out how to deal with that. And for that, we're going to be talking in the future about the second shooting, and the second shooting might be a very, very good solution in order to check how other people working with that. But what I want to also add over here is that don't worry too much about the equipment. Most of the cameras right now is so good that you really don't have to worry too much in the beginning. It's all about composition. It's all about you working with the light. It's all about you working with the composition, because that's the biggest difference between the good photography and the bad photography. Composition, that's pretty much it. You can spend years and years and years about composition, and at the same time you can reach the level when you think you know everything. How it happened with me somewhere like 10 years after I started, I thought like, oh, I know everything, until I saw the work of Joseph Kudejka, a famous photographer. I'm like, crap, like I know nothing. And you just go like that, up and down, and that's the curve of learning things, because in order to see new things, you have to get to a certain level in order really to see them. But again, we're going to be talking about it in the future videos. And the next thing you'll have to deal with is, of course, the business side of this entire venture. And as my mentor told me about like 15 years ago, and that's changed my perspective to the wedding photography completely, is that wedding photography, as any other photography, including fashion, fine art, anything, it's a 70% business and 30% photography. It does not mean that you're going to spend a little bit of time taking photos and learning the equipment and composition and so forth, and the rest you're going to be spending doing business. Not really. You're going to spend lots of time doing photography, and you're going to spend 3 times more time doing business. Prepare for 12, 14 hours work day, 7 days a week. But it's going to be sort of easy because it's very, very fun, actually, in reality. And the other thing, it's not going to go forever like that, because while you grow and you will be able to afford editor, your full at first it's going to be a freelance editor, then a full-time editor in your studio, then you're going to have assistants, then you're going to have second shooters, and so forth and so on. So the amount of hours you would need to invest in your business going to stay the same, but you will be in a position to get this time from other people. But at first, you will have to do it yourself. And unfortunately, it's a very common mistake, and I see that all the time throughout other photographers, and I've seen quite a lot throughout my career, who would enter the market, stay there for a couple of years, and then drop out or drop off, whatever you want to call it, because they do not invest enough time and effort into the business aspect of wedding photography, because it's all about the connection with the vendors. It's all about working in the right way with the client, delivering everything on time, marketing yourself, and so forth and so on. And I'm going to spend lots of time on this YouTube channel talking about the business aspects of the wedding photography. And I'm guessing most of the things I would put into my video course that hopefully I would launch 6 months from now or somewhere there. Because again, from my experience, lots of the people not willing to watch videos that 15 minutes longer, and as much as I would want, I would not be able to talk about the business aspect, let's say, of the marketing under just 2 hours, because the marketing itself, it's multiple hours of video explanation like that. And there is not only marketing, there is also connection with the vendors and the other things that I just mentioned. So it's quite a lot of information. So I wish I inspired you with this video to watch the future videos and to be excited about the upcoming course. Let me know if you have any questions, and I'm going to be waiting for you in the next video next Thursday. Thank you so much, guys, for watching.